What's up guys, my name is Jed Eaton and I want to welcome all you guys back to my channel. On today's tutorial video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do a board slide. Alrighty guys, so I would say a board slide is an intermediate skill. And it's the first skill you'll actually learn when you start skating handrails and flat bars. Super fun one, super awesome one. I would recommend before you guys attempt a board slide, you should be pretty comfortable on your board. You should know how to drop in on a ramp. You should know how to do turns on a quarter pipe. You should know how to do your ollies pretty well. You should know your body positioning when riding a board. You know, knees bent, arms out, chest straight. You should know the basics and the fundamentals before you attempt this board slide. But I'm super excited to be teaching it to you guys, so let's jump into the first steps of how to do a board slide. Before you attempt a board slide, the two things that you should know before doing a board slide is an ollie and a front 180. Now, if you guys haven't seen my tutorial video on how to do an ollie, you should go check that out. But let's quickly go over how to properly do a 180. So what we are going to do for a 180 is we are going to set up in our normal ollie stance, which is front foot below the bolts, the front bolts, and our back foot is going to be on the tail. Remember guys, we don't want our toes hanging off. So we want to scoot our toes back so they're on the tail. Okay guys, so what we're going to do for a front side 180 is we're going to do an ollie, but we're going to open our front shoulder to the left. Now, if you're a goofy stance, that means you're going to open your front shoulder to the right. Okay, guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to bend down and we're going to do a good ollie, but we're going to open this front shoulder and we're going to try our best to kick our back leg in front of us the best we can. Now, when beginners are learning how to do front 180s, they sometimes can't get the full 180, but that's okay, because the more you work on front 180s, the more and more you'll start turning, and then eventually you'll have the front 180. So let's see this in action, guys. Okay guys, so as you can see in this video, I'm bending down for the ollie, and as I pop, I am opening my front shoulder, leaning on my heels, and trying my best to kick this back leg around and get as close to the 180 as possible. The more you practice ollieing, where you open that front shoulder and lean on your heels, eventually over time you'll get a 180. Now, you actually don't necessarily need to know how to do a full 180 in order to do a board slide. It does help, but by practicing this 180, it just helps you get that motion down of opening up front side so you can land halfway to do a board slide. Alrighty guys, here's where it gets fun. So, when we are first attempting a board slide, we want to roll up to the rail directly parallel. So we want to make sure our board is directly parallel to the rail, and we're about maybe, I would say, a few inches from the rail. So we want to be about a few inches from the rail because this is going to help us land directly in the middle of the rail. So we want to ride up, we want to be about 3, 4, 5 inches from the rail in our ollie stance. When we pop our tail, guys, we are going to open our front shoulder and we're going to do our best to land right in the middle of the rail with our feet, with both feet over the bolts, right? Both feet over the bolts. Now, when I coach kids, a common mistake that I see a lot is kids usually land like this. They're not all the way pushed up on top. And that's okay. They're just nervous about bringing their body up on top of the rail, so they cheat it by trying to stay on the side. So if this ever happens to you guys, what we want to do is when we hop on this board slide like this, all we want to do is put weight on our front foot and push down on the front of our board, and that will bring us back up on top of the rail. So if you guys are struggling to get that 90-degree turn to do the board slide, something that can help you guys is, instead of rolling up parallel, try adding a little angle to your ride up, and this will help you get that turn better for the board slide. Next, let's talk about how we want to position our body while we're actually doing the board slide. So when we ollie and we open that front shoulder and we're in the middle of our board slide, we want to have our weight centered over the board, knees bent, chest straight. We don't want to be too far bent over and we don't want to be too far leaned back. Now guys, if the rail is really sticky, let's just say the rail is super sticky and it's really hard to slide, then yes, you'd want to lean a little bit more on your heels so you can push through the board slide. Now, if the rail is super slippery, let's just say someone coated it with a ton of wax, then yes, you'd want to lean forward slightly so you don't slip out. But basically guys, on any time you're doing a board slide, you want your knees bent, chest straight, body centered over the board. Okay guys, so now we have developed our front 180s. We know our body positioning and feet positioning and how far we need to be from the rail to attempt the board slide. And we know how to position our body while doing the board slide. Now it is time to talk about what to do when we're coming off the board slide, what to do when we get to the end of the rail and we're ready to come off. So we've rolled up parallel to the rail, we've ollied and we've opened up that front shoulder and turned 90, and now we are in our board slide sliding. Our knees are bent, chest is straight, and we have the weight centered over our board. Now, we are approaching the end of the rail. Uh-oh, what do? So a lot of times when I see people do board slides, they tend to just slide off the rail and land sideways like that, and that actually totally loses all your speed and sometimes even makes you fall. What we want to do guys is as we are approaching the end of the rail, we want to start leaning on our toes slightly and take our front shoulder and front leg and turn a half turn in the backside direction as we're coming off. Now, if we start turning off the rail too early, then we are gonna hit our wheels and probably fall. So we wanna make sure we get to the end of the rail, lean on our toes, kick that front shoulder, lean on the toes, and boom, do a half turn, and right away, and you should be generating plenty of awesome speed out of that board slide. And guys, that is basically it for a board slide. Now, let's see all of this in action right now. Alrighty guys, so that is it. That is how you do a board slide. I hope you guys learned something from this video. The more you work on board slides, the more you'll develop that middle ground balance on the rail, and then eventually you'll be able to do them on bigger obstacles, and your style will develop and everything will just come together naturally and nicely, and then you'll be doing great board slides. So I really want to inspire you guys to continue to ride your skateboard and to continue to work on board slides, because I love skateboarding and I want you guys to love it too. So if you really enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and also hit that subscribe button as well, because I kind of post randomly, but I do post. And yeah, so I love all you guys, and I'll catch you on another video. Peace.